Hello, and welcome to the podcast, Dark Dreams, where we read audio stories. This week's episode is by E. Appleton, and it's called The Consequence of Fear. The note on the locked door read, "Biology lab is closed for the mechanical repairs. Anatomy 101 monkey dissections are due next week. Pick up your bone boxes at the TA's office. Quiz on Friday. Dr. P. Ricketts." Oh, geez. It's Wednesday, I muttered in the empty hall of the McNabb Science Building. My partner Trina and I were supposed to finish a dissection map of Lucy, our monkey cadaver drunk on formaldehyde. We were to tag the muscular and general nervous systems of her legs yesterday, but Trina got the stomach flu. She answered her dorm door this morning in a distinct shade of sick. All she could manage was a weak moan in her fluffy pink bathrobe as her wiry hair raised at attention. So here I stood, half relieved of the latter due date, and mentally trying to juggle my tight schedule at the end of a long college day. Okay, the quiz is moved up, and Lucy is due next week. My history essay is due on Friday. I need to do one more read-through. I decided to take anatomy just because, well, I had an elective open this term. If I had it my way, I'd take every course on campus, including Medieval Plumbing 101. Now I knew why, at registration, my guidance counselor gave me that skeptical smirk when he asked me twice, "Are you sure about the anatomy class? It's a lot to juggle for a freshman." I knew what I wanted. I knew I could handle it. The building was too quiet. I looked at my watch. It was 9:30 in the evening. I hurried through the empty basement hall to the TA's office. I could hear the fluorescent bulbs humming above me like a gang of lightning bugs. When I turned the corner to the TA's office, I heard a one-sided conversation from his open door as its rectangular light spilled on the linoleum floor, caught like a prisoner. "Yeah, meet you in 10 at the pub." I saw Corey adjust his wide-rimmed glasses on his thin face as he turned from his desk, clipping his cell phone to the pen holder in his shirt pocket. When he saw me, his expression was still flooded in that conversation, somewhere between anticipation and smug. He reminded me of a tall, thin, quirky rabbit. I bet that was his girlfriend. I stood at the door, puffing air, pushing my book-laden knapsack further up my shoulder. Let me guess, you're happy to see me, and you want a box of my bones, right? He stood up and reached across his crammed desk in an overstuffed keyring. How did you guess? I replied with all my sarcasm intact. You've got that eager first-year thing about you. He took 2 quick paces back to a steel closet behind him, undid the lock, and took out a brown cardboard box, placing it on his file-ridden desk. You're lucky it's the last box. You're not in this department, are you? I picked up the box gingerly, as if it were a rare antiquity. I was surprised at the weight. It was so light. He must have seen my perplexed expression and said, Yeah, without meat, fat, fluid, we're light as dust. I was hoping to catch the number 404 bus to the subway station. It was a dark November night, with cold sleeting rain hitting my face. Home was a rented room in a boarding house, way off campus. It was cheaper, and the neighbors, though off color and temperamental at best, were more predictable than the stuffed flu-infested co-ed dorm. The bones rattled in its box under my arm. I adjusted my stride, remembering the smart-ass TA's reproach, when I hurried out of his cubbyhole of an office. You break 'em, you buy 'em. The subway doors closed behind me. The train creaked ahead into a tired, jerky motion. I fell into the closest seat to the door. My knapsack was still heavy on my back, and the box was on my damp jean thighs. I sniffled, trying to settle my mind, remembering the quiz highlights as my stomach growled. I know, I forgot to have supper. Again. What's in my fridge? Processed cheese, bread, mussel. Oh, I forgot to buy apples. Tomorrow.
I like running.
Me too. What? I was dozing off, hearing a voice. I looked around the rocking subway car. There was only one other passenger, a guy in a parka at the far end with earphones in his head, jamming away in his own world. My stomach growled again. I closed my eyes, leaning my damp hair against the cold glass partition, relieved that my stomach was playing mind games with me. My eyelids fell heavy. I settled in again.
I used to play football.
A young man's accented voice was so clear. Its cold sharpness penetrated into my white ear. I looked beside me. The seat was empty. The only thing that occupied the car, my immediate space, was the flickering lights from the subway tunnel. I shook my head as the car pulled into the next station, seeing the other passengers of the car in a grooving saunter. No one else got on. I smirked. The train jolted forward, a spiky, high staccato underneath my hiking boots. This was the longest tunnel in the system, a full 10 minutes. I settled in again, emptying my mind of the day.
I ran on the beach.
The voice was louder, closer, distinctive. I'm losing my mind.
I've lost it. You're not like the others. You were careful in that run. I only jumped a little.
I was freaked. The voice wasn't in my head. Its source was coming from the box. I widened my stare, loosened my cautious grip of it. The lid flew open, exposing a set of bleached white bones from a complete human leg. The thing jumped out of the box and into the vinyl floor of the subway car. I pushed back into my seat, squeezing, climbing its backrest, dropping the box in a silent face, contorting scream. The leg wiggled, its bony white toes making a scratching sound on the floor. The assembled bony leg hopped forward, and in my mind I heard its young voice say,
Man, that box was tight. Good to get out and stretch. So what do you need?
Well, what?
Hey, you're not my first, you know. The last guy, that football player, his roommate treated me real bad. They hung me out of their dorm in a rainstorm dressed in a jockstrap and a fishnet stocking. I bet you wouldn't do that, right?
His voice tightened in the question like a shrill screw. I gazed around the train. The car was empty, moving. It was just me and the talking leg.